Are you saying that Dr. Oz will probably win Pennsylvania?
I think he probably will. And I think there's overwhelming momentum in his direction. And I think not only Republicans are going to be motivated to get out and vote for him, but I think independents and maybe even some Democrats who were concerned by the debate performance they saw will also turn out and vote for Dr. Oz.
So what other Senate seats should we be looking at? And can the Republicans win the Senate, you think?
I think we can. And, there's several races that are starting to lean Republican that maybe have not been under consideration before. And it's always interesting when you see something that they're maybe calling a red wave or we're going to have a red tsunami. I don't know that it'll be that big of a win for the red team, but because it's always so hard. And there's still a lot of concerns about, are the elections really secure and safe, free and fair? Is it one vote, one person in some of these states and deep blue cities that had so many concerns before. So I think there still is a lot of concern about that. But one of the other interesting things that's going to be neat to watch is we've got a lot of governorships also up for grabs. And we've got some great candidates at the state level. And especially during COVID, I think people realize that having the breakdown of government like we have, where the states have so much power, really is important. And so we've seen states like California versus Florida, New York versus Texas, and the quality of life for people, the freedoms that they've been able to have during COVID, and then the recovery that they've had post-COVID has been dramatic, red states versus blue states. And so I think we're going to see some surprises at the state level as well as at the Senate level. We're watching places like New York, where we could possibly elect a Republican governor for the first time since Rudy Giuliani. We're also looking at deep blue states like Oregon, where they may also elect a Republican governor for the first time in a long time. You've got backers like Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, who has put over $1 million into the Republicans' campaign. Not that he's a staunch Republican, but he knows that Democrat policies in Oregon have failed, and that Republican leadership is needed to get businesses and individuals back on the right track in places like Oregon. So I think there's going to be a lot of surprises on election night, and hopefully in all good ways.
Well, it's interesting that these red waves seem to be an organic type thing coming from ordinary people. You never see it being posted up in the media, in the mainstream media, that is.
Well, it's interesting because we're seeing cracks in the media now. And so Republicans have been talking along for the last several months about the trending tide toward them and the voter registration and the enthusiasm and the turnout that Republicans were seeing. And the Democrats have tried to suppress that, saying they're not going to be able to take these seats. They're not seeing the enthusiasm that the Republicans were talking about. But interestingly enough, when it comes this close to election time, all these pollsters actually want to keep their jobs and keep their credibility intact. So just within the last week, we're starting to see them say, well, the tide is turning and we're seeing some polling shifting, and all of a sudden some of these seats are leaning right. And so they know it's coming. They've avoided it as long as they could. They were trying to talk it into reality and they couldn't do it. And so it'll be interesting to see how red next Tuesday is, but we certainly will pick up a lot of seats in the House. I believe we'll take the Senate, and we're going to take a lot of governorships that previously have not been in play.